Okay, so we got a little bit of a different podcast today. We're in the car at the moment. It's nearly 8 p.m. Just driving back from out near Mansfield, Merrijig kind of way, so Victorian High Country, where Nathan just shot his first Sambar Deer.
Yahoo!
It was with a horse bow from 450 metres away.
200 pounds.
Yeah, it was impressive to watch. Do you want to run us through a bit of the day leading up to that, Nathan?
So we started out in a valley, just on light. Very, very cold, but worked our way through there. Saw an absolute ton of sign, but no deer there. So moved our way around a bit, back down the hill and stuff like that. We checked out a couple of spots, didn't really see much, and then we decided to essentially ditch the car and do a really long range walk. Probably spent, I'd say, an hour and a half at least walking downhill, just away from the car. And we spooked a deer from about 15 metres away.
Big one too.
Massive. We had no idea it was there.
It's amazing the speed of them. Like, we were following the tracks and they just literally, it had turfed up the ground so much. About 100 metres we could just see this piles of dirt where it's just sprinted.
Yeah, I had my hoodie on and I didn't even hear it. It was gone so fast. But yeah, followed on after that. Kept heading down. Yeah, we tracked that for a little bit. I don't think we didn't find that.
No.
But we kept working our way down.
We did spook that other one further down.
Yeah.
Probably about half an hour later, which could have been the same deer, but
Yeah.
we didn't actually see it. We just heard it. Probably again only maybe 25, 30 metres away. But we didn't get a glimpse at it.
Yeah, something that we're finding is it's just incredibly hard to see them. Referencing back to that post we put up at Eliza on the Facebook with the deer in the scrub, like you can barely see it in the video. But to us, we can see it quite a lot better, but it's still really hard to see. We think they hear us long before we see them. At the moment, we're adjusting our hunting techniques. But we're definitely getting better. So after that spook, we kept going, and then got a little bit of a clearing overlooking some hills.
Like an old track or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then we're just cruising along, and all of a sudden Alex dude.
Stop breathing. Stop making any noise.
There was one just standing there when he ranged it at 40 metres, was it?
Yeah, it was a little. It wasn't that little. There was a doe behind a tree. It was pretty big, actually. No.
Pretty big. It was heavy.
yeah. There was a doe behind a tree, and it was coming in just over 40 on the rangefinder, and it just had no idea we were there. And I only saw it because I could see the back end just sticking out behind a tree, and it moved behind a tree, and it was just disappeared. Like, it wasn't. Even a small deer is still a very big animal, and it's amazing how easy it camouflages. And I was having a look, and there was a lot of twigs and branches and stuff in the way. And I don't know, I just felt like it wouldn't really take much for a fletch or a broadhead or something to nick off of those trees. And considering how much effort we've put into hunting that area, it was about time to put something on the ground.
Well, we've been there, at least I think 4 times, maybe 3 to 4 times.
Yeah, 3 to 4 between us.
Spent probably, a couple of days in the bush.
Yeah, at least,
worth of time. We sort of just walked around a bit, waited for it to walk into a little bit of an open patch between some trees. And Alec asked, have I got the shot? And I had it, so I took it and luckily hit it.
It literally, like, you could see, because the deer turned as it was shot, and you could see the exit wound on the other side as it was running, like it was a big exit wound. Well, what caliber is your gun?
It's a 7mm08, so it's something most people would know a 308. It's basically a smaller projectile out of a 308 casing. So it flies quite a lot faster, but quite a lot flatter, but it's a smaller projectile, so it doesn't punch quite as hard. But it's helped, it kicks far less, so I like it.
It's a bit faster than my compound.
2,800 feet per second. So.
Yeah, so just a hair over. And it literally, you could see the exit wound, and it ran probably 10 meters. I don't even think it knew what it hit. It was pure adrenaline, the run. Ran next to a tree, dropped, and that was that. So that was deer on the ground, so it was good to finally get our first one.
Yeah, we had a good, 5 minutes of just running around, shouting and jumping.
Letting everything know we were there. We didn't care at that point.
We finally achieved what we've been doing, trying to do.
And we spent, because this was our first time field dressing a deer as well, so we spent way too long doing that. We learned we definitely need a saw to try and get through the bone. The knives do not cut it. There was a lot of rotating of bones to try and snap them, which works, but it was not ideal.
It's a bit gnarly.
Yeah, it was a bit not for the squeamish. But yeah, we managed to gut it all right, figured that all out, hung it up in a tree to skin it and quarter it, and that seemed to go okay. Then this is when we kind of realised that we don't really know what we're doing at this particular point. Yep. So I just had a little $30 Kmart backpack, which is all I've ever had. I'd never even thought about, fitting the deer in the bag. Deer are pretty heavy, as it turns out, even the smaller ones. So after we'd quartered it, broken it down and everything, we were working out how to actually get it back. Nathan had a pillowcase. I had one garbage bag. I don't know why I only had one. I swear there was more in there, but that's what I get for not checking. So we fit the quarters into the pillowcase, and I put that into my backpack. It was just it was sticking well out the top, and it was just hanging in there. And then we put the rib cage into a garbage bag, which is covered in blood. There's holes in it already. And we started walking for about maybe 10 meters or so before realizing this was probably not going to work very well.
Even completely cleaned out, all legs gone. Head gone. The body of it is still 20 kilo, I'd say at least,
and just awkward, big to carry, covered in blood.
Yeah.
So you just it was quickly apparent that wasn't going to work. So we pretty much I took the quarters back. So I hiked back to the track and then walked back up to the car. Dump my bow in the car, dump the quarters and stuff in the car.
Alex the fit one, so
fitter. We're fighting for the bottom of the ladder, I think. So yeah, I took all the stuff back to the car. As I'm walking out, I'm probably 40 meters from Nathan, and there's this massive Sambar Deer in front of me, full rack, everything, and it's just staring at me. And I had this thought of I could shoot it, but then what happens now? I'm having trouble already. This thing's 3 times as big.
We've said multiple times that we're actually, now that we've shot one, we think about that.
Yeah.
And the experience. We'll say more about the experience, but we do think about how we're going to get this out. But because the first time we were it's breathing, it's walking, we'll take it.
Yeah. And then you're this is all right. Figured out how to quarter it. Now we got to get it out. And we probably weren't. I reckon we might have been a kilometre from the car, if that. Yep. But it was very dense, very steep, and it was just because none of us had the right packs for it. So if we could have put it in a backpack, it was just a rib cage. If that could have gone in a backpack, we'd be fine. But because we had to kind of carry it out in a bag that was broken, I basically, hiked out with the legs back to the car, put everything in the car with my bow, saw that massive sambar on the way out, and then there was another one I spooked going up towards the road, and then drove the car back down closer and came back in. As I came back in, I'm just basically playing games every, minute to 2 minutes. I'll just yell at the top of my voice. And most of the time, something will run, most of it was kangaroos and stuff. But there are another 2 deer. I saw the first one was a group of fallow, and then the second one was a smaller Sambar Deer that I'd spooked coming through.
It's really amazing. We've been there probably 3 times before, and only really
camping overnight too.
Yeah, camping overnight. Yeah, only really got honked at. But today, we come across, I'd say, at least 8.
Oh, we're going back in that spot. That spot is marked on the GPS. And we found, people that obviously, are aware of that spot because we found other trail cameras and stuff like that in there too. So it's definitely a hot spot. So, yeah, then we got back. We start trying to pull this stupid rib cage out of the bush. So the first thing we tried was just carrying it, which didn't work. Then we tried, so Nathan's got essentially how many litres do you reckon it'd be?
10 if that.
Yeah, 10 litre backpack. We're trying to fit this full rib cage in there.
Fits a couple of rolls and, a torch, a head,
Small jumper.
That's it.
And it just we tried, because the bag's falling apart at this point. There's one garbage bag.
Destroyed the bag, zip. There's blood all through it.
Yeah, there's blood all...
It's going in the bin after this.
Yeah, going on the back of your neck and on your shoulders and stuff as you're trying to carry this thing.
I'm actually, the back of my neck right now, I can feel it.
Just don't, if you don't touch it, you don't think about it, it's not there. That's what I'm going with. Looking forward to going past the servo on the way home. That's going to be funny as. So yeah, we decided to take off. Nathan dropped a shoelace. We tried tying that around the...
Just still attached to the bag, yep.
Oh, is it? Okay, just to get it off the bag. Around the carcass to try and hold that in place, but it's just awkward because it wobbles and you can't really tie it to anything.
And it's really heavy.
Yeah, and then we thought about, we'll shove a stick through it and then carry either end of the stick. But of course you've got the rib cage, which is open, and then the neck, the bone's going through the neck. There's no hole or slot through there because we didn't have a bone saw or anything to cut. We couldn't do that. So we just kind of threw and pushed it through the bush for a little bit.
And 5 hours later.
Yeah, and then eventually I just kind of got over it, just grabbed it, started hauling it. We then found out, so invest in a GPS is a definite learning.
Oh, we'd still be there.
Yeah, we'd be sitting there under a tree.
We'd be looking at the EPIRB, thinking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking, maybe.
And we would have only been, 500-600 metres or something from the road. But it got dark and we can barely see in front of us. We've got an iPhone torch and the torch of my Garmin.
It's hard enough in the day, let alone the night.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because it's really easy just to turn left. When you're not thinking, you might take a path out where the only pace you can go, and then all of a sudden you're off track and heading in the wrong direction.
So we definitely, GPS definitely worth the investment, especially if you're hunting by yourself. This is 2 of us and we still couldn't figure it out. I should actually post a photo of the GPS because we headed the exact opposite direction up this massive hill and then had to walk all the way back down the hill to then head the right way before we finally got back to the track. So the GPS had just got these weird circles on it now. Before we finally got back to the car, we don't have an esky. We didn't think of something to put under it, so it's just sitting on the backpack in the back seat at the moment. The quarters are still in the pillowcase in my backpack. And then as we're leaving, this massive stag runs across the road as well. Again, Sambar, we saw 2 fallow. There's a farmer's property that adjoins the state forest, and as we're coming in, we saw 2 there, which was the best sightings we've had in so long.
I was so excited.
Yeah, we were stoked at that point. And then I saw a group of them as I was coming back in the second time. And then the rest were pretty much all males except for the one that we shot, which is good because we were not getting a male out of there. So, learnings, shopping lists. Definitely a bigger bag.
Bigger bag, yep.
Yeah, bigger bag. Game bag, 100%.
Bone saw.
Yes, bone saw as well. Or we just lug in the Ryobi circular saw and
Ryobi deer cutter.
So yeah, we definitely keeping the GPS, that's a definite. And then your bone cutter, game bag, a bigger pack so you can fit it all in. And then just need to do our research on how to... we figured it out. We cut it all up, and it's fine. But there's obviously much better ways, especially like a bone saw. We could have cut the rib cage in half, carried half each. We would have been out of there hours earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so much learning from it. And I mean, we've I've bow hunted rabbits and foxes and stuff like that for ages, and it's just such a different kettle of fish. All the pack out, the butchering, gutting, all that kind of stuff too.
Which we've got still a lot to go.
Yeah, well, we're driving back to the shop now. The plan is to just basically hose it all off, wrap it in lots of garbage bags, put it in the shop fridge, which will be cleaned afterwards. And then tomorrow I think I'll be entering the rabbit hole of buying like things to make jerky and sausages and all that good stuff. And the other thing, definitely if you're bow hunting, get yourself a bow sling. This is the first time I've used a bow sling. It is a game changer. NAP Apache or Apache, however you pronounce that. It basically has two little Velcro straps with a plastic hook. One goes on the top of each limb, just under where your cam sits, and then you've got a near strap with like a rubberized kind of coating on it. It clips into the two, and so you basically have it hanging off your shoulder, and you just have one hand on the side or your stabilizer as you're walking. That
bow sling is really good. Doesn't protect your cams at all, which is a little bit of a downside, but it's super quick to use. Because you got to be quick. Because there's at any moment the Sambar could just run. You step on a twig that you don't see, and it's gone.
Well, that's the problem with all the others. You get like the neoprene ones to protect your cams, but then you've got to undo like a press clip or Velcro or something like that. And that's just game over there.
Yeah.
Whereas at least with this one, if it's on your shoulder, you press the one clip to unclip it. You could shoot it with the strap hanging off. It would just add the extra weight, but it will take you literally 2 seconds to just unclip both of them. Even the clips, like they're pretty quiet on that for little, just your cheap plastic clips. I think they're like $60 retail for a sling.
Yeah.
And it's definite game changer because it's a bit of a nightmare hiking around with a bow, and you end up. I mean, I'm not particularly nice with my hunting bow, and I'm just kind of putting it in front of me and using that to get the twigs and stuff out of the way. My bows came out 17 years ago, the one I'm hunting with, so it's certainly not a newie.
Yeah, it's amazing when you're, especially as well as when we're cutting up the deer and stuff like that. Or you keep all your equipment nice and clean, stuff like that, but it all goes out the window when you're out there. You really put your gear to the test and really thrash it around. We try our best. But especially when cutting up the deer and stuff like that, and working with your bags and everything you've got, it's just your main objective is getting something done. And sometimes you sacrifice some things to do that.
Well, it's just, I mean, especially, we've both been in archery for quite a while, and we've hunted, around, like, suburbia is the wrong word, but is in residential blocks and stuff like that, not going out into the bush and chasing after deer. And when you're just shooting on a 10, 20, 50 acre block or something like that, it's not essential, the weight of your bow, how you carry it, what you're wearing, all that kind of stuff. But when you get out in environments like this, and we're just talking state forests and Victorian high country, like we're not talking about people, in America shooting elk and stuff like that, or going up in Darwin and shooting massive game and that kind of thing.
It's still very hard country though, like it's, incredibly steep, 45-degree angle, but, major steep and super thick bush. So you definitely need something to help you out with that.
Yeah, so camo is a definite. One, because, I mean, some people, I don't know, I've read a lot of stuff on people just hunting in flannies and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure it can work to some extent, but I feel like when the deer is there and they're kind of onto you and they're looking at you, you need that little, it gives you, it definitely doesn't detract from your hunting.
But just think about it. If, you're wearing something that's not camouflage or something like that, and that's what, makes the deer run away, you'll go home and burn that shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
So you want to be wearing something that's good.
Yeah, people drop $1,000, $1,500 on a mid-range kind of compound setup, spend all this money on their camping stuff, a couple of days off to get out there, all the time getting out in the bush, and for the sake of a few $100s more worth of camo, definitely worth it. So we're just about to start stocking Hunter's Element, which Nathan's been using already.
Yeah, I'm really liking the thermals at the moment. So that's all I've been wearing underneath. Really good. The Odyssey pants I'm really liking. You can hose them off and stuff like that. They're covered in blood at the moment, so I'll be hosing them off later. They are a little bit loud, so I may be looking at something like a mid-layer. I did try to cheat and trying to get around a mid-layer pants, but I think they're just a tiny bit loud for what I want. So,
but it shows it's got all the different. There's certainly a lot of different areas with choosing your camo, whether you're wanting to have wet weather gear, whether you want to just be super quiet. Like, there's so many different areas to choose from in that range.
Yeah, particularly with the Hunter's Element stuff, it's pretty easy just to get yourself, like, I'm wearing the equivalent of, I've got my thermals, just an ordinary shirt, but, I'm getting a crux top that's on the way. And most of the time I'm just wearing my Edge mid-layer top, and that keeps me warm enough, and that's really, really good. We want something like the Halo or the Odyssey jacket to get in through in the rain.
Yeah.
But most of the time, the Edge top, combined with a good base layer, something like that, is more than enough.
Well, it's again, every little thing you can do to help, and it's not. We're not talking thousands of dollars here. I mean, you can get, multiple $1,000 GPSs and Garmin sights and all that kind of stuff for your bow. Stuff like camo, I mean, even just down to the design of some of the pants where they've got pockets on the front rather than the side. So if you've got your eyes set on a deer or an animal, whatever it is you're hunting, and you walk past and you scrape against a tree and it legs it, you're going to be wishing you spent the extra $100 or whatever and got those pants. And once you've got them, you've got them. You're going to have a serious crack at hunting. This stuff certainly makes a difference. So I've been using the Under Armour camo for quite a while now, but one of the things it's good camo, but as far as the actual like breathability and moisture wicking and that kind of stuff, it just doesn't, having listened to the way all the Hunter's Element stuff works, it certainly seems to tick a lot more boxes the Under Armour stuff hasn't been doing for me. So as well as your camo, your camo allowing you to remain more hidden, being quieter, and also just comfort, because it changes, like temperature fluctuates a lot, especially in the high country. When we got in there, I think it was like
5.
Yeah.
5, not much more than 5.
And then you get all the wind chill in your face. I mean, they've got like things you can put around your neck and stuff like that, and gloves and all sorts of different stuff to be able to specifically target the environment you're hunting.
But on that, once you start moving, it changes. Stuff, you want to be running something that's lighter that you can take off at least. But then, once you stop, really need to be aware if it can get cold. So you want to have that backup jacket or something like that. That's where the Halo jacket's really good, because it's super packable, a little bit noisy, but to give you a little bit of extra warmth, really, really good.
Absolutely. So camo, that's one of the definites. With GPSs, I've been using one of the Garmin GPSs. I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm gonna make the name. I'm gonna stuff the name up. I think it's 66ST.
You got it.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. There we go. So that allows me to mark waypoints. So I've got a lot of waypoints marked now from today, where like where Nathan shot his deer, where we found all the trail cameras, where we had all the tracks along the gully, where we first spooked that deer. All those different spots, so you really get to build up a good collection. And also, mine's got the bird's eye view feature, so you can do kind of aerial shots of where you're going into hunt, which is super handy as well. I do find myself using my phone a little bit too, like just going on Google Maps and having a look at the satellite footage, which is great when you have signal. But as we found today, my phone ran out of battery and didn't have signal, and the GPS is pretty much the only thing that got us out of there. So it's a definite, especially if you're hunting by yourself, like it is in state forests and stuff like that. It's very easy to trip, as we did probably over 100 times today.
Fell on my backside a lot. Just sliding down the hill.
And if you sprain your ankle or do something like that, and you've got no way to actually contact someone, or you've got no way to find your way back to the car, and you get lost, we hear it. It's not a regular thing on the news, but it definitely does happen with people getting lost in state forests and stuff like that.
Mansfield's pretty good in terms of reception. I think it's actually rather unique in how good the reception is sometimes. It still drops out around there, don't worry about that. But places, we were up at Nearham the other day and zero reception completely for most of the day. So GPS is fantastic.
Yeah, and just for the hunting side of things is awesome because you can mark where you've gone back to and you can find. Because it's when you're in the middle of the bush and you're trying to find the same spot you're at, every single tree looks the same. Like, you're not going to find that spot unless you got it marked on a GPS. And again, for the safety aspect, especially if you're hunting alone, I've got my Garmin doesn't have the InReach technology, but I've got an ePerb in my backpack as well. So if we did get absolutely stuck, I've got that as a kind of get out of jail card.
It certainly crossed my mind tonight.
Yeah, I thought about it a few times. Because don't underestimate it. It is tough terrain. There's a lot of wombat holes and loose rocks and all sorts of stuff you can trip on and hurt yourself. Even if you just get lost and you've got to spend a night out there and it's, I went hunting last year and it snowed overnight. Like, if I'd gotten lost and it snowed, you'd be in a lot of trouble. So, safety-wise and convenience-wise, GPS definitely. Like we said earlier, get a pack big enough to actually put what you've shot in to be able to get it out.
We never thought about that until we did.
Yeah.
They were like, oh no.
It's whenever I've gone fishing, I've always, if I go fishing with a rod and an esky, I'll never catch anything. If I just take my rod, I'll catch something and have nothing to put it in. Guaranteed.
Well, I hope that's not the case for us in the future.
So you definitely got to prepare with the mindset of I'm going to get something and I'm going to have to bring it back out. So Hunter's Element, again, make a really, really good range of packs. There's lots of other good brands out of there. Hunter's Element's just the one that we're familiar with. So I'll definitely be using that in the future. Get yourself a game bag. Pillowcases are alright. Garbage bags do not work.
No.
They're no good.
Too weak.
Yeah, so definitely don't use the garbage bags.
We were carrying the body out by the end of it.
Yeah.
It was just, it wasn't a garbage bag anymore.
Yeah, it's dark at the moment, but I'm going to be looking later and probably find a lot of blood all over myself. But for now, not an issue. Just don't think about it. Move past it. We'll be fine. So you definitely want good quality pack, good quality game bag. Another thing as well, which we lucky enough we did have, disposable gloves. We were lucky because the weather was all right, but if you're out there and it's 35, 40 degrees, you got flies everywhere, and you're trying to gut a deer, it's pretty unpleasant.
You stick in your hand into places that are no good.
Yeah, well, you have to get inside the deer to get the guts out and
it's all
skin
warm
it. Yeah, it's not the nicest thing to.
Gloves are your best friend.
Yeah, so disposable gloves definitely. One thing that probably would be good is just a couple of wet wipes and stuff. Definitely have those in the future because, the gloves are good, but I was ended up with holes in them by the end of it.
It's all up my arm and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, you end up getting, this is just a small deer. If we get a bigger one, it's definitely going to be blood all up your arm, and you want to be able to wipe that off afterwards if you've got to do a long hike out.
We might do a little bit better next time because we got a better idea of what we're doing.
Yeah.
I was just, hacking at it, really.
I certainly learned a lot from this experience. Something to actually clean yourself off with, so you're not, especially if you've hiked for quite a while, you're not stinking, you've got blood in yourself and you can't even eat because you don't want to put your bloody fingers in your sandwich. Yeah. Bone saws, like we said before, definitely really good knife, really good bone saw. If you've got a blunt knife, it's going to be very hard to skin the deer, especially if you want to keep the skin. And it's very easy to kind of damage the meat as well. Definitely learn how to field dress and butcher the deer before you get in.
Yeah, because as I said, Mansfield helped us out with reception. YouTube was our friend.
Yeah.
We started using the video, but by the end of it, we were just making it up as we get along.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a big rabbit, I think. I mean, we've been lucky. Like, we've been to a couple of the SSAA Expo and the Wild Deer Expo, and Dave Fent from Aussie Hunting Adventures, and he runs Bushbow 3D as well. He did a demonstration there of how to field dress a deer, which was really good. But because I haven't done it and I haven't looked at it multiple times, I remembered bits of it. But it's one of those things that I think you've really got to look at half a dozen to a dozen times and really kind of think about how you're going to go through it, so that when you get out in the field, because they make it look a lot easier in the video than it is when you're trying to do it yourself.
Yeah, we're watching Meat Eater, I think it was.
Yeah, Steve.
No blood on his hands, nothing, just straight, clean cut. And we're, 20 minutes in, we're like, our deer looks nothing like that.
Yeah, the first 20 seconds is you just do this cut and you pull this part out. 25 minutes later, we've just
literally
butchered
took us
that
half
part.
an hour to do that.
So it's definitely as much knowledge you can get on that part beforehand will help for sure. And I mean, we're, like I said, we've done archery for a long time. We're all over your broadhead shooting, your bow setups, all that kind of stuff. But once you get out there, it's just, the bow I've been using for hunting for a while is quite heavy because I'm normally running a heavy target bow. I'm going to drop a lot of that weight off very soon because it's manageable, but it's manageable for the first couple of hours. When you get up at, when do we leave at 4 a.m, 3:45 or something? We're 8:30 now. We've been going all day.
Yeah, well, we pretty much hiked from 7 a.m. till nearly 6 or 7 p.m. pretty much.
Yeah,
the whole day.
Yep.
We were absolutely buggered.
Yeah, so having that little bit extra, a little bit less weight on the bow definitely helps out. So that's something I'll be doing too. So I guess basically what we've learned today is to be more prepared. Don't skimp on things. You can't buy stuff from Kmart and expect it to hold up because it does not. Just basically give yourself every advantage you can. And it doesn't have to be a case of throwing as much money as possible, getting the absolute best gear. Just kind of dip your toe into every area, I guess. Get, a base level of camo. Obviously with the bow you want something that's going to perform and you're comfortable with depending on your specs. Get some kind of GPS, even the Garmin E-Treks, the cheaper ones, I believe they're around 250, 300-ish.
Something around that.
And that'll still get you out of trouble. And then knives, I mean, you could buy, it's good to have a good knife, but you can buy a cheaper one and just sharpen it up and make sure it's, ready to go. But I think all these fields, they all help. And I mean, we were missing a few of them today, and we definitely felt it.
And we'll say, we've probably said it 15 times in this podcast. We'll say it every, when you ask us, get a bag.
Yeah.
Get a good bag, because we would be home right now doing this podcast at the shop.
Yep.
Instead of, my feet are sore, everything's sore, purely because we didn't have the right bag for the job.
Yeah, absolutely. Just think whatever you're, if you're going after deer, think how big a deer is, look at your backpack and go, can I fit one of those in there? Because if you can't, it's not going to be coming back with you, or it will be a miserable experience getting it back. So,
we're super stoked to get one, but it was a lot of work.
No, it was certainly, it's a good story. I was telling Nathan before, if you look at the GPS screen, there's a whole lot of circles that we've gone around. It's not funny yet. It'll probably be funny tomorrow, and by the next day it'll be laughable by that stage. But it's a little bit of a sore point at the moment still.
No, we have good fun with everything, so that's fine.
So Nathan, your next challenge is getting one with your Matthews now.
So good old Cashies, on 32. Because my motto was deer first, and then get one with the bow second.
Yep.
So you got one with the rifle, bow is next. So it limits my range a bit, but today was more than close enough for a bow.
Oh, all the ones we saw would have been 40. The one you shot was probably the furthest one we saw.
Probably. But it was, it was just a difficult shot for a bow, purely because it was quite dense. Trees, covering where where the deer was. So obviously the bullet's just straight at it. It was easier. But I feel, if we waited it out and we didn't spook it, I reckon you would have got a shot on it.
If we sat there, I think if we tried to get up close, it was pretty, like, a lot of the leaves and stuff are all dead, so we probably it would have been onto us. But if we sat there, we probably would have got an opportunity.
Yeah, we were just so keen that we'd seen one that hadn't seen us.
Just to finally get one on the ground. Yeah.
We were just so keen. We're like, I think you asked me if I had the shot. I'm like, I was already lining it up.
Just take it.
Yeah.
Just bring it. Finally get one.
So yeah, really, really good day. Long day, really hard day. But no regrets other than not having the gear.
Yeah. We'll be back again on Tuesday to
Tuesdays.
Try and get another one in the shop fridge.
In the shop fridge.
So later on tonight, go back, hose it all down, wrap it up in the fridge, and then tomorrow I'll start learning how to try and do sausages and jerky and all that kind of stuff. So that's the next thing to learn for us. So yeah, basically, from very amateur bow hunters as we are, definitely try and cover as many fields as possible. Just think practically about it. Just think, if you shoot an animal, how are you going to cut it up? Where are you going to cut it up? Even just, we were lucky we had some rope to hang it from the tree, otherwise skinning it would have been really, really hard. What are you going to do with the blood? How are you going to clean yourself? All sorts of stuff like that. So just think through the whole scenario as much as you can, cover as many of those boxes, and you'll be more prepared to hunt for sure.